This puzzle piece. Where were you 10 years ago when I was a younger man? This connection was overdue, slipped like grains of sand. Now we're walking arm in arm. I'm so grateful for you. You're my person, my puzzle piece, and I can't breathe without you. I can't breathe without you. Circumstances are what they are.
Hello and welcome to the Nonsense Chronicles. This is Doug Sashery, and as always, I am joined by
Rob Mendiola.
Rob.
How's it going, Doug?
It's going great, man. I have.
You're back.
I'm back.
3 days in a row, man.
3 days in a row.
Crushing it.
Yeah, that's right. We have to put some fuel into the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always good to have episodes ready to go, and we don't like to have them record and then release right away. So we want to be able to edit them a little bit. And,
Yeah.
mature well, but I think we're getting there.
Get in there.
Yeah.
Catching up.
Today we are joined by the man with two first names.
Yeah. Totally.
We're joined by Brandon Nathaniel of the band Beshook.
Yep.
What's up, brother?
Hi, guys.
Hey, man.
Hi. Thanks for having me. Funny story. My middle name is actually Nathaniel, so nobody knows my last name.
Okay.
See, I knew it. I knew it.
Anonymity.
I think.
Keep some mystery going.
Yeah, I think Rob said that he tried to do that a while ago. I think he said that. Did you want to tell me that? Wait, what's his real last name? I said no. I think it's.
I don't think I said that. I asked what his last name was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he goes by his stage name is basically what we're saying.
Yeah.
His adult film name. Yeah.
That's classified.
Yeah.
Woohoo. Amen.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
what's the latest, man? I know, as far as I know, Beshook is out there looking for a bass player right now.
Is that right?
That's right, actually. So we've done a reformation, really, is what we're calling it. We started off working with material that I developed as a singer-songwriter. I had pretty much a plethora of songs that I wanted to bring to the table and have a band put together surrounding this music that I've written. And so I started working with a few key members, some participants who helped me bring the songs alive. Through a series of just changes and business differentiation and vision, we decided to part ways with our drummer and bass player at the time. Those who we debuted with. Luis Aguirre, who is my main guitar player, continued forward with myself, and then not but minutes after I started searching for another drummer, we ended up landing on Roman Font, who also coincidentally plays bass. He had approached me a long time ago when we were playing open mics and different shows around North Houston, interested in helping in any way he could. He was just, he really enjoyed the music. He thought that we had something, good going, and solicited his services by, basically messaging me and saying, here's what I can do. So when the need came around, I actually contacted him, and he was real excited. So not long after that, we started getting together and fleshing out the material. What I found was he really has, not only an extensive background, 40 years of drum experience and musicianship, but he was able to not only learn the songs but improve the songs, really. So what he's doing is he's in a way he's writing, new and improved drum grooves as well as the bass and recording them. So our rehearsals are actually we're now playing and rehearsing to a click, which was something we really needed to do in the first place, with pre-recorded bass tracks a la Roman Font. So it really gives that full experience of rehearsing like we're playing live, with in-ears. So we've been at it once a week and then communicating in between and really, just perfecting the arrangements and just making things a little bit more alive. I mean, for example, we've been adding some keyboard, backing tracks to some of the songs, filling things and rounding things out. So there was a dark period of time where we, kind of just put everything down to focus on that, probably between, I would say, April and now, ultimately. We were about to release the single, but with the changes that were made, we elected to hold back. I had since LLC'd Beshook and ultimately wanted to restructure and reform in a way that would be, I would say, preemptive of a successful strike. I feel like, bands get together, they play, they flesh out songs, get on stage, and start, moving things forward. But I really think the business aspect is something that can be, kind of put to the side. And so that's something that I wanted to focus on during this downtime period, was getting the ducks in a row, because we do plan on releasing a single in the very near future. And if, for any reason, that gets picked up or licensed or whatever, I wanted to make sure everything was ready. So it was kind of a necessary reformation that we took upon ourselves, and I'm really excited for the future, to be honest.
Look, I think I went to see Honeycutt Southern, I think the night that they were playing, and I was like, hey, I never heard of this band before, but they were very good, so.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they stood out, so, yeah, that's, didn't you tell me aren't you from the Northeast originally?
I'm actually from California, so I'm from the Southwest originally. I grew up in Southern California.
But in the Northeast section of Southern California, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, you're not far off, because there's Riverside County, and that would be Northeast.
Yes.
So
good job.
Good guess, Doug.
Good job. No.
Practice your psychic capabilities.
Yeah. I was going to weed away so I could be right one way or another.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. But no, they.
Yeah.
That's incredible, man. How long have you been here in Houston?
So I actually moved here 10 years ago next week. September 27th marks my 10-year anniversary of moving to Houston. I actually moved here for work. I ended up taking a position at United Airlines, and just have been working there ever since. It's gone very well working for that company, to be honest with you. And I feel like the efforts that I put in my daily job kind of put me in a good position to lead a band as well. I'm a manager for the company, so in a way I'm a manager for my band as well. So there's just those natural instincts that that I kind of just solidified over the years that help direct and move things forward and keep things in a forward propulsion movement. So
I actually know a bass player that works at United, I think.
Go ahead, man. Are you serious?
I'm serious, yeah.
How funny.
Yeah.
I'll use company resources to
That's right.
procure my next.
That's right.
Actually, no, I know quite a few people over there, because I used to live right north of the airport.
I'm talking about Sean Drab, if you know him. I don't know if you do, but you might look him up.
Yeah.
I'd have to look him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to find him a bass player.
Sean's an incredible bass player.
And the beauty is the parts will be written already. So it's a matter of just learning what's on tape, Right. So Roman, being the drummer, has devised the bass to be completely synonymous and synchronous, if that's a word.
Yeah, with the drums.
His drum grooves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so anybody coming in really wouldn't have such an arduous time of actually learning the parts or creating, designing. It's more of a come in and play with us, participate with us,
That's cool.
So I'm hoping it'll be an easy transition. But even if we don't find one, we do have the backing track. So we do plan to put our feet out there regardless of, I'm quote unquote missing member,
Not sit and wait.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Exactly.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Actually, I do know a couple bass players. I need to figure out what they're doing.
Well, Inner Image has done that for a while too. Actually,
What's that?
went on without bass player,
Oh, really?
and they have all of it backtrack.
So the guy that left was bass player?
Well, I guess so. Yeah,
Okay. Because I could never tell.
yeah,
I could never tell what they're doing, So they,
yeah. They have two guitarists up there, but no bass player.
okay.
But
I
all
never-
the bass is on the tracks.
I usually don't count strings when I'm up there, but sometimes sometimes apparently I need to. But
Musicians do; they count everything.
yeah. And we could ask
No pun intended.
Right.
we could ask old Berkey, but I know he's busy recording his stuff right now, Christian. But he may know somebody in that realm as well. And there's another guy I just thought about that. It's interesting. Yeah.
I wish I had the time.
Yeah. It's the one instrument I don't play poorly. But
Yeah, I tried playing bass for a band once, but it didn't really go too far with that.
yeah,
It's a different animal. As a guitarist, I pluck at the bass and I'm like,
Yeah.
this thing's just different.
It
This
is
is this is not. You can't translate guitar playing to bass effortlessly. It takes a whole other set of techniques.
But
I really respect the instrument.
Yeah, when I listen to music, though, that's one of the first things I go to is, what's the bass doing? Because I really feel that the most.
bass and or drums.
Yeah.
rhythm
Yeah, I mean
section.
that's your bones right there.
Yeah.
It's your concrete. It's your foundation.
Absolutely.
What about I'm trying to think. So what drew you to music?
Yeah,
man?
how did you get started in all this?
Oh man, so I've been playing music since I was a kid, 5 years old.
Yeah.
Picked up on the piano, classical piano. Ended up teaching myself how to read music. I got a couple keyboard lessons, and they kind of just threw material at me. And I loved to read as a kid. So I ended up kind of figuring out the bass treble clefs and figuring out how to play the piano. And then I took some stated lessons, like actual piano lessons, when I was around 12, 13. Learned to play classical piano, did recitals, stuff like that. And then I discovered the guitar, and I begged my dad for a guitar because I felt like watching those PBS programs in the morning, I would see, guys playing like the classical guitar and stuff. I'm like, I think I can do that. Like, it just doesn't look as difficult as maybe it seems to. So I ended up getting my first guitar. My dad took me to a Guitar Center, and it's a funny story. We go in there, and I know nothing about guitars at this point. I'm just going in and going at the recommendation of the Guitar Center employee who probably knows less than I do.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
I feel that 100%.
So what was funny is I didn't know I'm mixed-handed. I'm not right-handed or left-handed. I'm mixed-handed.
That's funny.
So I do different things. I do different things with different hands, I guess you could say.
Does that exist? I didn't know that existed.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
ambidextrous. That's
Okay.
I'm left-handed, but I play right-handed guitar.
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Sorry, Brandon. Go ahead with your story. You just threw me off with that, and I just had to blink for a second.
Oh.
it's a thing, man.
No, you're good. I had to look it up too. I didn't know it was a thing. I just thought I was
Yeah.
weird. I just thought I was crooked or something, like my
That's-
brain wires were just all sparking. But ultimately what it is like I am predominantly left-handed, but I write with my right hand and I play guitar right-handed. But when I was shopping for a guitar, I didn't really know which way the guitar should go. So I was actually inclined to buy a left-handed guitar. And the Guitar Center employee goes, no, that's pretty rare. Left-handed guitar players, really, you don't see that much. And he flipped it around. He's like, well, try it like this. He goes, trust me, you're right-handed. So to this day, I think I'm a left-handed guitar player. I just never knew it. But anyway,
crazy.
we bought my little $300 Yamaha. I got started on that. I was about 99 pounds when I was 13, and I had a big old case full, a big hard case. And when I started high school, there were no music classes, but I wanted to learn, on my lunch breaks, whatever, recess. No, they don't have recess in high school, I guess, periods, whatever.
Yeah,
So I would take this case on my bus route, and I would just haul this monster case, because I'm like a little kid, onto the bus, and it would have its own seat. So obviously I, had to decline anybody sitting next to me because the guitar took precedence, much like an airplane. And the really funny part is I'd come back with bruises on the back of my legs because every time I'd walk and take a step, the case would hit me in the leg, just due to my stature and the way I was carrying it. So played every day pretty much, learned chords, learned how to change between them, learned how to tune, all of the basics. and I couldn't put it down. I mean, at about 16 years old, I ended up being in like a little high school band. Got into electric guitar at that point. And then I started writing music on guitar. And then fast forward a couple years later, I ended up kind of going out on my own as a singer-songwriter. In about the year 2008 or 9, I was like maybe 2021. I ended up recording an EP, which is actually still out there today under my name. So if you go to iTunes or Apple Music rather, or Spotify, there's this one lonely EP out there that I wrote the songs for, and had a fellow classmate who was studying audio production, and he offered to build his portfolio, record an EP with me for the cost of $0. So of course I spent every minute I could at his place, and we kind of finished that up, and I released it, and ended up just kind of playing like coffee shops and stuff in California.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I got in front of an audience and got, practice singing and getting more out there. And then some things developed over the next couple of years. I ended up having a backing band under my name. I ended up working with who said they were a manager, but really wasn't, and played some bigger shows. We played like the Key Club. I actually got to open up for my favorite band. I opened up for Toad the Wet Sprocket in 2011.
Oh,
Old
nice.
90s band.
Oh yeah.
That was just probably one of the greatest nights of my life. And then that was leading on into recording again. Once again, we had new songs, or I had new songs. So the manager that I was working with, or quote unquote manager, wanted to push on this producer that she knew through her network out in Tennessee. I'll leave the name out just for now. I don't want to talk about it, but I ended up spending every dime I had to pay for myself, her, and my drummer to go out there, go to Tennessee. We worked on the music, and he basically changed everything as a producer. He changed like all of it and made it more about kind of what he would write, which wasn't really my style. And the songs were cool. It was just something that like I wasn't really happy with.
Yeah. I've seen
But
that
what
before.
happened was interesting. The really interesting part was he stole my drummer while I was out there.
Oh,
He was in
no.
need of a drummer,
God.
and he literally poached the person I paid to come along.
No.
But then, while he was working on his album, he discovered, because I never really advertised I play piano, and all of a sudden he had a piano somewhere in the basement, I guess the studio basement, and it was like an electronic keyboard, and I was just messing around with it. He goes, "Wait, you play piano?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've been playing for like decades." He goes, "Can you play on my track?" I'm like, "Well, I can mess around with it." Nailed it like on the first take. He was like, "You got lucky." I'm like, "No, I actually know what I'm doing."
there's a difference.
So anyway, he quote unquote now invited me to be a part of his band. But I made it. Gosh, we flew home, packed up all our stuff, drove cross country, myself and the drummer, in his little like 89 Accord. I don't know how that car made it. I don't know how it made it, but it did. We got there. Oh gosh, it was just it was a really terrible experience, just working with someone who was kind of self-absorbed and just kind of the evil side of music, if you want to call it that. So
a lot of that. Yeah.
I ended up bailing. I just was like, you know what, I'm it's not going to work for me. I'm going to go home. And what happened was I had just met my current, well, I guess you could say ex-wife now, but I ended up going back to work so I could, kind of take a hiatus from music. Still played, still wrote, but just more on my personal time, and just kind of got my corporate career going, so I could eventually, support a family if that was the way it was going. So I actually put down music for close to 10 years.
Wow.
10 years was, I hadn't stepped on stage until 2014 when I moved here. I went down to McGonagall's and did an open mic once, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And so, long story short, beyond that, I ended up trying to get into recording and audio production. I joined the URM community, the Ultimate Recording Machine, to learn how to mix and master. Started investing in gear and like actual, microphones and preamps and compressors, and learning how everything works. And then I met who I still use today, my producer, David Sestacia, who actually just he mixed what would have been our first single but he does all my vocal production. He taught me a lot about music engineering. So he helped me with another EP album that I put out under the project called Satellite Minds, which was just me really recording everything on my own, like even the bass and stuff. I just kind of did everything by myself. I wanted to just do something because I had kind of quote unquote given up on music for so long. I kind of put it out there, but I didn't really pay for distro. I just kind of did Bandcamp and shared it with my friends, and didn't really have like a super hard intent to go anywhere with that. But during COVID, I started to get the itch to like play again live. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting older. I really miss being on stage, and that's when I started kind of looking for, members. So I tried out a few different projects and different people, and it didn't really work out. But then I landed on the guys that you guys saw on stage, the drummer and the bass player. And then now that's traversed into the Beshook that we are today. So it's a pretty long story, but I feel like everything's all about timing. And I feel like my musicianship at this point is so much more crafted than it was 10, 15 years ago. Even though I, really worked hard at it, there was more to do. Singing wasn't actually my strength. I had to really, really practice and learn how to sing, right. And I was just winging it. I had no training. I did choir in high school, but that was, before your voice really develops or really becomes what it, is going to be when you fully mature. So I just really worked hard on singing and writing good songs for the last few years. And that's what kind of Beshook is the product of, just really the concerted effort of focus and dedication. So.
Yeah, I mean, y'all stood out, man. I thought you did a really good job. Like I said, a lot of times I'll come in and to see a band, and I don't get to see. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't on the bands on the undercard, and and I'm usually talking to a million people, but y'all stood out enough to where I was paying attention. So yeah, you're that good, man.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I'm proud of the songs. I consider them kind of like my children. I saw a meme actually the other day. It was really funny. It was a person on stage. It was a cartoon, but it said, "These songs are like my children." And then there was an audience member that says, "Your children suck."
Oh, God.
That's horrible.
It just made me laugh because I just said, like, my songs are like my children. I'm like, oh, man, I hope I don't say that on stage and somebody comes back with that.
Do you have
have
anything out at all anywhere that people can go and look at?
Soon. So what we have right now is pre-production. So right now I have, the pre-production for the track called Green Room. Now, Green Room is the song that we really ended on. It was really upbeat, really fun. A lot of what I coined as Beshakers, the girls that would come see us play, and a lot of friends of my friends, and all these gals that love to dance and have some drinks would get up on stage and dance with us during this song. We were going to release that song as a first touch, but what I kind of found was, in thinking about it and even consulting with even just my own partner and family, was the other song that I have that we have done the pre-production for, called Puzzle Piece, is a lot more relatable. Green Room's kind of a very sexy song. It's very, innuendo-ish. And the music that I write is always, in my opinion, family friendly. You'll never see, and I never say never, but for the most part, I don't really write lyrics or propagate anything like that would be somewhat maybe immoral or just dirty, or I don't think you'll ever see a parental advisory sticker on a Beshook album. Let's just say that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I try to write family friendly music that, you can bring your 14-year-old, son or daughter to, or, if you're in your 60s, you'll still enjoy it. Yeah. I think that the genre that we're playing in, which is kind of an A genre, I write across all genres, but it all kind of blends together. It appeals to, there's something for everybody. And that's kind of the motif that I've been trying to impart onto my bandmates and just the vibe in general, because, like you said, you go into a show and you see a band get on stage and, maybe you're just there for a drink, right? But they're playing something that it's just giving you a headache, you know what I mean? And I really think that there's just something for everybody with Beshook, and I'm hoping to to really expand the business of the band to more than just the music, but actually like use the name, because it's such an interesting name for a band, but use it like as almost like as a principle or like some sort of like message. And then maybe build like some more merchandise or products around it. So there's like kind of a business plan that I have in mind. But you know, that's a little ways away. The music's the first thing that we're focusing on.
Well, get that done, man. Yeah, like I said, and Brandon will also be the best person dressed on stage that night. It's pretty much. I did notice that. And I'm like, oh, damn, this dude's ready for Vegas, man. Look, but
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I dress that way at work, so that's like how I dress in general. Yeah. Like for the most part, I'm usually wearing like, you know, a business casual. I love like vests. I like the look.
He is
I really enjoyed. Yeah, I enjoyed that show White Collar. I don't know if you guys remember that with Matt Bomer. It was a series about a really
yes,
good con artist who was hired. Yeah, he was hired by the FBI, and he was just such a sharp dresser. And
I always with the fedora.
You know, yeah, he had the fedora. Now I don't think I can pull off a fedora. I got too big of a head. It just doesn't look right. But the vest and the you know, the cool shoes and stuff. I definitely love fashion, and that's kind of something that I try to incorporate into the band, because, you know, I mean, I've seen bands go up on stage, like some of my favorite bands even, and I remember going to see a band out in California at a local venue, and the guy had like cheeseburger grease stains on his shirt. You know, like I mean, cool. You know, grunge was a thing. You know, I get it, but like, you know, I kind of wanted to always present it like a tidied up, kind of like clean.
No, I think it's a good. Yeah, I think you're distinguishing yourself. Yeah, that's good. I have no problem with that whatsoever.
I lose it when I see all the grease stains on the guitars, though.
Oh yeah,
that's the worst.
Yeah, I don't think
I like a clean guitar.
Yeah, he likes a clean guitar.
Yeah, that's funny. I told my guitarist, I go, you know, we have kind of like a regimen. Like before every show, I go, we're going to be polishing your guitars. You know, like actually your new strings. When our strings are off, we're going to take some of that Ernie Ball, you know, clear coat, you kind of spray and clean up your guitars. You don't want your professional photos to have like fingerprints and smudges all over your instruments.
I actually use car wax on mine.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah, I do.
What kind of wax do you use?
The Carnauba, the Mothers.
That's a good wax.
Yeah, and it actually will keep you from having like fingerprints and all that. It makes it real slick.
Yeah, because Rob's guitars do look really, 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 really shiny. I have to give him that.
Yeah, they're all cleaned very, very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do see people on stage though, and it's like, man, everybody's guitar is so dirty, and it just like freaks me out.
Now I get it why you want it. Now I get it why you wanted Mike Ned to that one little spot.
Mike Ned fixed a bass for me that had a scratch on it.
Yeah, you know, Brandon, did you ever work with Mike Ned before?
You know, I've met him. I actually took a guitar up to him that I needed. I have a Martin Parlor, a 12-fret Parlor.
Oh, wow.
Well, really, it's a triple O. Just probably my favorite acoustic guitar. I mean, it's just an amazing instrument. But unfortunately, it needed a neck reset really early in its life. And I took it to Mike, and he told me, you know, I'm just really backed up right now. And it's no reason why. He's a very renowned, you know, luthier here in Houston. Mm-hmm. So he referred me to a guy named James Hewitt up in I think it's Livingston area. So I ended up driving up there and met James, and now I really like James. He's just he gave me a fair price, and he completely just restored my Martin to just an absolute,
that's good when you find somebody that works.
Yeah, that's pretty good that Mike sent you. Yeah, because man, that dude does stay busy as all get out. And Rob, because he's so about his guitars, and he picked up
Those
a
are
bass.
Babies, man. Those are my children.
He picked up a bass somewhere. It's not like he's going to be playing it, but underneath.
I have played it, but I just don't play in a demand.
Yeah, it was underneath the strings. It was near the bottom fret. I want to say maybe
it's right by the pickup, but and it's a 5-string fretless Warwick German.
Yeah, that's what it was, and he had like it was like a little. It's not like even a chip. It was almost like a sanded off part, and like he freaked out. And so Mike looked at it. He goes, "Well, wait, what does he want me to do to it?
Yeah, I'm still not happy with it. But
Yeah, no,
I'm gonna
he
have to
said,
like try to
hide
do
it as much as you possibly can, so you can shine it. But yeah. But yeah, no, that's
Well, I'm sure it looks fantastic now.
all well. But yeah,
Sure.
we just wanted to check in with you, man, and I know you do have some. I've seen some stuff on YouTube that you can watch with Beshook. There is some footage.
Yeah, so some of my friends took it upon themselves to record our shows and just kind of set up their phones and record some of the live performances that we were doing. So they took it upon themselves to actually post it on YouTube, which I thought was really nice. Obviously the audio quality when you're taking a cell phone video, it is what it is. It's a live room. Yeah. But me and Luis actually got together, my guitarist, and we got into my studio and we did a little clip, not even a clip, it was the full song of Puzzle Piece. And I did it through my studio interface and my nice microphone and everything. And we just played it live. I didn't put a click on. We just decided to do like a little duo kind of thing, just, guitar, electric guitar, and voice. And that turned out to be really, really nice. So if anybody's on my Instagram or whatever, you'll see a video of just me and Luis in the picture. And it's just me in my studio. We're just really just messing around, taking video, and it actually turned out to be really good. So that's the song that we do plan on releasing. It's a love song. It's pretty much about finding your perfect partner and what that should feel like and what that should be like, And I was, going through a divorce and going through some, changes and really meditating on what it means to actually find the right person, because so many times I think, in this life, you can, kind of chase after the wrong girl, or at least find out that the incompatibilities are there so much later on. So it was really like a self-search.
Yeah.
I had to sell all my guitars with my first marriage.
Yeah. See, lesson learned.
Yeah.
Lesson learned. Well, you seem very happy right now, my friend. So, and
absolutely, definitely much happier. And I think that's going to translate into this new era of Beshook, because while we were doing all this, formation and debut, I was, going through a lot of personal stuff that was really difficult. And so I think now that we're going to reform and make another debut, it's going to be a different version of myself leading the band and fronting the band. And it's, I think, going to translate even better to the audience and to the listeners.
It definitely will.
So I'm excited to share.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what's in your soul will bleed out to your music, man. That's a good thing.
Just always keeping positive people around you and having your life positive.
That's right.
It does show. It shows through.
Anyway,
I want to
go ahead.
I want to name drop real quick. We work with a photographer named Stephanie Brinson. So all the photos that you've seen Beshook post, she is a 19-year-old photographer who posted on Facebook, basically saying that she wanted to build her portfolio for live music shots. Mm-hmm. And we were the first. We were one of the first bands that she came out and met and made a promise to come to our show and basically we headlined Numbers back in December, and that's the show that she was going to come out and do photography for. And then she did multiple shots and things for us ever since. But she is the up and coming photographer in Houston for live music, and
cool.
She's actually now a very close person in my life. She's the daughter of her mom, Martina, who I am in a committed relationship to. So I met my partner through my photographer.
Oh, wow.
And have all these wonderful people in my life.
I did not know that.
That's cool. Yeah, it's a cool story.
Yeah. So Beshook ended up begetting me happiness in a different way too.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of put her name out there because I owe a lot to her for working with the band and for, introducing me to her mom. And just, we have a really good thing going and cool. We all, cohabitate and she's just, nice. They're just all the best. So.
Well, very cool, man.
I had to force them to eat at my house.
Did you?
Yeah. No, they came out when we had Malcolm and everybody else there, so we had a good time. But man, Brandon, we appreciate you coming on today, and everybody out there, Beshook, follow their social media on Instagram and as well as
what is it on Instagram? How do we find you on Instagram?
At Beshook Music.
Beshook Music. Okay,
that's right. And check
Yeah,
out
the great thing about the name is nobody took it. There's no, hardcore band in Sweden that took it on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Like that was one of the things I loved was
That's
I was
always
able to
challenging.
like solidify all the socials. Yeah.
And I see a music video with the kid walking with the big guitar, bumping his back. Like,
yeah, he should
yeah, that would be cool.
reformulate with that one day,
Yeah.
reenact that. It's a good idea. But please give them a follow and
Look for some shows coming up, I guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having me on.
Dude, anytime. And we want to tell everybody, please like and subscribe.
Yes. Later.
That's it.